Candace Owens,
because
she did piss me off. I guess now she's a denier that we ever went to the moon. I didn't know this.
Yep.
But now she says...
Once you get 200 miles out, you hit the Van Allen belt, which has an incredible amount of radiation. There's been no human that's gone beyond that belt since the moon landings, allegedly. So I want you to just Google the temperature of the Van Allen belt. And then I want you to Google what material the shuttle was made out of. This literally doesn't make sense that an aluminum alloy could have gone through the Van Allen belt for an hour and a half or 59 minutes. It just couldn't have happened. It literally can't happen. There's no explanation.
The Van Allen belt, it's a belt around the Earth of radioactive particles that comes from the sun, right? We have magnetism in the Earth, and they get wrapped around the Earth into this little donut-looking thing around the Earth, right?
Oh, I've seen this on pictures before. What's the evidence behind this?
That it's impossible to pass because it's radiation.
Okay.
But I don't think Candace Owens understands that there's different kinds of radiation. For instance, we get sunburn at the beach. That's UV radiation, ultraviolet. That can be stopped with a simple fabric on your shirt.
Okay.
Now there's alpha, beta, neutron, and gamma radiation. In alpha particles, you can block with a piece of paper. Beta particles, you could block with aluminum or any kind of metal. And then gamma radiation, you block with lead. This is why in big nuclear reactors, there's a lot of lead around to keep all that from seeping out. Well, in these Van Allen belts, it's pretty much just A and B radiation. So you can block them with something as thin as a few millimeters of aluminum. But I don't think she knows that. And the other thing that she said is, she said we can't go through them. Well, they don't extend around the entire Earth. The northern and southern parts really don't have any of the Van Allen belts. It's only in certain latitudes that it's affected. So all NASA did was like, yeah, we can go through them, but let's just go above it, more north. So you don't really ever get into the really bad part, which you could do. Now, here's a funny thing. Polaris Dawn, which is a SpaceX mission that's going to go to space and do the first spacewalk of humans, private commercial spacewalk, not of a government entity, they're going to pass through the Van Allen belts. They're actually going to be in the Van Allen belts. So what you're going to say in a week when they start walking outside of this Dragon spacecraft is you're going to say that SpaceX is faking it too?
You know what she's actually going to say? She's not going to say anything because she's not going to mention it. And she's going to not ever go back to the fact that she brought this ever up, that the moon landing was fake and whatnot. I almost feel like this is something that people like Candace tend to do to stay relevant. They try to dive into these pretty outrageous conspiracies, shine some light in them to allow a base that actually wants light to be shone onto these conspiracies, right? And it's essentially feeding into a certain demand. So when various things like this come out, she's not going to care about that, or she's going to tell you, so what, Fabian? And then she's going to go to the next thing, right?